You shared a vision before, 10-year dream plan, that ideally sneaker impact wouldn't need to exist. Because if shoe brands would be designing for the end of life from the start, are you seeing any promising movements in the footwear industry towards that circular design?
Kamal, this is super easy. Make a shoe with less material. Can we make a shoe with the same material? Where you take a shoe, and some brands are trying that. Make a shoe with very similar material, and you grab it, you throw it in the grinder, and you make a new shoe again. If this happens, this would be the ultimate goal. I know On Running has tried something like this, and I hope they can continue to do that stuff. And they would ask clients to ship it back to them after it's done. And I know ASICs have done a similar project as well, but this would be the ultimate goal. And we always talk to, in our conversation with brands, if they made the shoes with less material, it would be much easier to recycle. They could do it themselves and inject it back into their circular economy,
Yeah.
or we'll be here to help as well if they need our help. So yeah, I mean, this would be the ultimate goal for all of us.
Hey everyone, welcome back to What Runs a Run podcast and to this special mini-series called Sustainability in 26.2, which is exploring the intersection of movement and the environment. I'm your host, Kamal Dada, and today we are lacing up for a conversation that's going to change the way you think about your running shoes long after they've hit their last mile. My guest today is a true visionary in the world of circular economy and a passionate advocate for environmental responsibility. I'm here with Moe Hachem, founder and CEO of Sneaker Impact, an organization that's tackling the massive problem of footwear waste head-on while simultaneously creating incredible social impact around the globe. Welcome, Mo.
Hey, thank you for having me, Kamal.
It's absolutely a pleasure to have you here. Before we dive into the incredible work the Sneaker Impact is doing, let's start with your origin story. What was the spark that ignited the mission for you? Was there a moment you looked at a pile of old sneakers and said, there has to be a better way?
Blame it on the pandemic.
Okay.
So during the pandemic, I'm from the footwear industry, second generation. My father started this in the 60s. And we've been in the shoe industry, and we've never looked into the DNA of the footwear, what happened afterwards.
I see.
So typically, we only are told the first half of the story,
Yeah.
the production, the logistics, sales, and that's about it. What happened afterwards, nobody knows. I mean, there's a lot of different options. One bad option are landfill. Second better options are waste innovation, and we were using that, creating energy from waste. And we wanted to know what happened, during the pandemic. Kamal, my brother started riding skates. My wife started making cookies. I focused on, can we recycle footwear? And if we do, how to dissect them. So the pandemic.
That's an interesting story for sure. Cool. So that's fascinating to learn that the pandemic has created sneaker impact for sure. You often mention that 90% of the footwear currently end up in landfills, right? For our listeners who are probably diligent about replacing their running shoes every 300 to 500 miles, including myself, that number is staggering. Do you want to paint a picture of what does the environmental footprint of that waste that looks like?
Yeah, man. 24 billion pairs are produced.
Yeah.
On an annual level worldwide.
Wow.
0.4 billion come into the US on a yearly basis, and 1 billion of those are sneakers, between running shoes, casuals, lifestyle, all that. Sneakers in the US are a fashion statement. They're not a transportation mode. So we wanted to see what happened afterwards. So we looked into it, and it looked like 87% of textiles and footwear end up in the landfills.
Wow.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's definitely clear that the impact is huge. But sneaker impact is not about the preventing just the waste, right? It's about creating a positive social impact as well. And you have occasionally, I think you mentioned it quite a few times, that or it's a philosophy that you run by, that the sneakers are like cars for people in the developing nations. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that?
Exactly. See, the sneakers that can be exported to developing nations are a vehicle. That's how people get from point A to point B. That's how people go to work. That's how kids go to school. But you want to make sure you're sending the right product to the right market. Meaning, we're seeing a lot of waste in Africa, in South America, the Caribbean, Central America. You just want to make sure you're sending the right item to the right market. So this is what we do here at Sneaker Impact. We make sure accountability each and everywhere, each and every pair is accounted for, and we're integrating AI for each and every pair that comes into our facility for accountability and for reporting back to retailers and brands as well.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about the journey of the shoes once it reaches sneaker impact, right? Do you want to walk us through what happens if somebody send a pair of shoes or you collect a pair of shoes? I don't think I'm going to talk a little bit about how you go about that as well. But if you want to walk us through the cycle, and I know that you also use some pretty advanced technology as well, including AI in your sorting process. So if you want to walk us through that whole process that you do.
Yeah. So great. So we have over 2,500 drop-off location. I think we're closer to the 3,000 drop-off locations in the with the corporate take back. We also have a consumer take back program where runners like yourself could order a bag from your condo and we'll ship you a bag with a prepaid shipping label. The sneakers come to our warehouse in a bag from consumers or a take back box like the one you see behind me from the corporate world and the specialty running stores, municipalities, schools. When the shoes come by, they're ran into our AI table where each and every pair is accounted for. We count what is good sneakers, meaning wearable, what is end of life, and what is casuals, non-sneakers. And we report back that information to the partners, meaning their emission report, what was good, what was bad, and we're also keeping the brands, the colors, all that stuff from where they came from, the zip code, the addresses, to have better data on monitoring the recycling habits and other information if needed. Now, so we do have a reuse arm and we have a recycling arm. The reuse are shipped to developing countries, and we are a for-profit social enterprise. The shoes that are not deemed to pass into the reuse arm are sent in-house to our recycling facility, and we'll talk about the recycling a little bit more and how that works.
So on the reuse part, what happens? So like what is the kind of the steps you take? I think it probably boils down to the philosophy, right? It kind of goes to some places where actually it can be reused.
Kamal, it's all about, just like attire, we need thread in the bottom of the shoes. The shoes have to have either perfectly fine threads or threads in pretty good condition. Just look at attire, Bashar. If the shoe is not perfect on the top, if there's a small hole, it's fine. If the shoes need to be washed, it's fine. This is part of the job creation. So when the shoes are shipped to developing countries, there's a job being created by stitching the top of the shoe, by painting the top, by some paint, by washing. The more our partners, the more work they put into that particular sneaker, the higher they can sell it for. Because this is sold on the side streets. We just want to make sure this is we're not shipping, end of life or to developing countries. We're just shipping shoes that they could use. So you're not only reducing waste here at home, you're also creating micro business opportunities. Now, if they can sell it as is, it's a perfectly wearable shoes, but we always advise them, hey, stitch it if it needs a stitch, wash it, paint it on the side so they can receive more value. So this is all part of the job creation in the footwear industry, and the shoes will end up in, some of the shoes that you wear from the high-end running brands, they're engineered.
Right.
It would be a perfect vehicle, a perfect transportation method for them.
I definitely love that analogy. The micro entrepreneurship that you mentioned about. So I think there are two aspects you're referring to. One is the job creation. I think it's probably near Miami facility that probably happens, or around where you collect collection centers.
No, so the collection centers, we're collecting nationwide, man. We
Right,
have
right.
collection bins, collection boxes in big doors. We have running stores. We have them in municipalities. We have them in colleges nationwide. Yes.
I see. I see. And the micro entrepreneurship that you mentioned is primarily after the shoes that can be reused. You process them, and there are folks that probably able to kind of sell them, as you said, in the roadside. That's where the opportunity is created for those folks, you're saying.
Yeah, and this is overseas. I mean, if they're able to
Right.
fly down, they're more than welcome to come and take a look at what they're doing and do their own sorting, meaning there's some sneakers better than others based on brands, based on quality, as long as they're perfectly fit to be exported. And we have a lot of our partners that cannot fly down, so they're shipped by 40-foot or 20-foot containers.
I see. I see. Now let's change gear to a little bit on the other side of it, where it has given up. There's nothing can be done with the shoe at its end of life. I think that's where your Curb to Greet program, I think you refer to as, comes into play, right?
Yeah.
What happens to those shoes? So what kinds of new products are the material transformed into? Like you may want to walk through the whole process. I think it's a pretty fascinating workflow you have.
Well, look, Kamal, when we started with a dust collector and a small grinder. Now,
Okay.
now our facility could do up to 1,000 pairs per hour. It's all about purity, man. Purity in separation. I mean, sneakers are complex. I mean, there's textiles, leather, foam, rubber, metals, glues, non-ferrous metals, ferrous metals, plastics, TPUs, and the list goes on and on. In order uh, to separate, first, your first job is to separate textile, leather, foam, and rubber into different high purity polymers.
Okay.
Number two, we've integrated near infrared into separating the foam. In order to make a shoe out of the foams, you need to separate the foam. So there's different kind of foams. For example, you've heard that term, EVA foam, TPU foam, PU foam, ETPU. So if you want to make an injection molded pair of sandals or a midsole for a shoe, first you need to do high purity. So we're the first company that actually integrated near infrared. So each and every small polymer is ran into a belt where the near infrared separates the different polymers into different categories. So it's all about purity level, and definitely we have shredders, grinders, air density separators. We have again more air density. We have huge cyclones to play with the
Mhm.
air. But what we've integrated into recycling is the technology of near infrared, and nobody else has ever done that, to our knowledge, in the
I see.
footwear industry.
Okay. It's primarily to separate out those ingredients you mentioned, the TPUs, the PUs,
The
and the
EVA.
different polymers. Okay.
Well, look, if you're making a playground, that's fine. You can mix all the foam together,
Right.
or you mix all the rubbers together. And if you're making a playground, you're making a mat like the one you see behind me, that is fine. But if you want to go into shoe production, our ultimate goal, Kamal, look, making a playground is super cool. Making mats are pretty cool, and we've done that. Our ultimate goal is to put those uh, polymers back into the circular economy. Why can't we make new shoes from old footwear? I mean, it's not. We've done it, and we were told it's impossible. It's not impossible. Other companies that integrated recycled material. So there's a term called pre-consumer, meaning the leftovers from factories. They took those and
Yeah.
they've made recycled shoes, like all the big brands. We're saying let's look at the post-consumer, the used footwear after they're done. Let's take that, let's shred them, grind them, separate them, and we'll give you the purity you need to inject that into making a new footwear. Uh, we did not have a lot of ears 4 and 5 years ago, but now there's a lot of interest, and we're in direct dialogue with a lot of the footwear companies.
I think I saw a post of yours on one of the social media channels where you build the midsole from the recycled material.
Yeah.
I think you're talking about that. So is this kind of the direction you want to go? That is not the whole shoe, but I think at least a part of the shoe was through your recycled materials that you have gone through your factory, the processing center.
We've made sandals, we've made shoes, we've made
You did.
boots, we've made all kinds of stuff. It's a proof of concepts. And
I see.
people ask me, are you going to go into footwear industry, footwear production, footwear branding? And no intentions right now, Kamal, but we wanted to show the whole world this could be done.
Possible. Yeah.
And we have spoken at the FDRA, which is the Federation of the Footwear Association in America. We have spoken at other lot of different footwear events, and we're saying this could be done. And the magic word is post-consumer. Can we take
Right.
post-consumer product and turn them into a new product? And look, the laws and the regulations are coming in. And in California, it's the law. If a shoe brand brought a shoe here, they have to take it back into the reduce, reuse, or recycle. And this is what we're doing. And this is what we're doing. And we're showing proof that this is not theory. It's just like we do with a lot of universities, Kamal. We have University of Miami. We have Florida International School of Design. Students come here and roam in my warehouse, and it's an open dialogue with the future leaders. So
Nice.
it's a this has been done, and we want to hopefully more brands integrate that into their production.
That's awesome. I love the fact that it's an open door and people can come and you're actually meeting some of the future leaders in this space too. So if this is a proof of concept, right? Where does after the carbon grind happens, where is this is kind of used? If I'm to say that, or reused, the materials that you're sorting out.
Look, man, this is the $1 million question here. We did not have a benchmark. I know you're from the IT system, IT world, and you guys have benchmark. If you want to look into an AI project, you can consult some of your colleagues into an AI project if you're walking
Right.
up. And one of the languages that you know, and so it's all about calling one of your colleagues, and we had no benchmark to go to. So everything is created in-house. What have we created from the foam? We've created yoga mats. We've created just regular flooring mats. We're creating yoga blocks.
Oh, okay.
We've done sandals. We've done slippers. We've done midsoles. On the rubber, we've done the flooring of all my offices made from the rubber mats.
Nice.
Textiles, we're playing with the textile. I don't know if you can see behind me. We're making blocks. It's in the middle right there. We're pressing the textile. We're making blocks. We're in contact with a company here in the US that want to test if they can spin that textile. It's because it's 85% polyester, and they're gonna look at it.
Nice.
On the textiles last week, and maybe I'll show you in a minute, we've made a shoddy, meaning they'll make a huge sheet for insulation. They just press it down, and it's super. Maybe if I have a chance, I'll show you what we've done with the textile. So we're creating all these items, one item at a time, and we're doing that here because we did not have a benchmark to go to. And we're also always open for ideas, and from people like yourself or your listeners, if they have any ideas what to make from the foam, the rubber, the leather, the textiles, we're all ears.
That's awesome. That's great to know. Now, this definitely looks like a circular economy in action for sure. You mentioned a couple of times lack of benchmarks in the industry as such. Talking about that, what are some of the biggest hurdles that you see when you're trying to break down the sneakers, given then the different materials and glues? I think you have done a couple of videos I've seen. It's a very complex process. Like, what are the challenges that you have to solve for to get to where you are?
We only have an hour, man.
Well, if you can do maybe I don't know, a couple of minutes summary.
Look, shoes are complex, and there's something called cross-contamination, meaning when you shred a shoe, textiles is connected to leather is connected to the foam is connected to the rubber is attached to the textile on the front and on the back. There's plastic in the back at the shoe heel. It's called TPU, or plastic pieces. When you grind those pieces, we're stuck with some cross-contamination. We're going to 6 to 8 mil, which is pretty small. It would be much easier on our machinery. It would be much easier on our near-infrared system if the polymers were bigger. But if you have a bigger chunk, more than 8 mil or 6 mil, it will be attached to other pieces. I don't know if you're seeing what's happening. So we have to go as low uh, as the machine could handle. Cross contamination, meaning pieces mixed together. Kamal, our ultimate goal is not to make only flooring. We want to inject that into making new sandals and new midsoles. And if you want to do that, your purity level have to be above 98%, 99%.
I see.
So it was all fun, challenging ideas and work in progress. Yeah.
All right. That's a good overview. Thank you for sharing that. To get to the 98%, what probably you have to go through, get to that purity of 98%,
It
whatever
could be
material you're
done.
sorting.
Cross contamination is a challenge because let's say with the near infrared, it reads it. I mean, as you know, near infrared, there's a light that comes down to say, yeah, this is EVA. Well, it just looks at the top. In the bottom, it might have like a really tiny piece of rubber, for example, and boom, you're in trouble there. This is not 100%. So that cross contamination is challenging, but we're working on that. And again, through more technology and through more work, we've done the sandals, so we were successful.
So for someone who is just curious about, I have to ask you, so what is the challenge of cross contamination? Say, okay, infrared found it's an EVA and there's a little PU under that. What challenge it will pose for the post sorting or grinding?
Well, it all depends what you're making out of it. If you're making a mat, a yoga mat, or if you're making a yoga block, or you're making flooring, no, it's not going to have no challenge. If you want to melt this, if you want to make once you melt this, different PU, EPU rubber melts at different heats. So you want to make sure it's consistent. If you have EVA for injection molding, they all have to be at the same material so they can melt at the same time. If you include other material, they will not melt. And these are very expensive machinery when they're ejected. So you'll mess up the whole system and you don't want to stop a whole system. So this is just an overview of what could happen when your polymers are not pure.
I see. No, thanks for sharing, Mo. Now let's shift the gear a little bit on the consumer side. So folks who are listening, they're probably wondering, how can I be part of this? How can I get my old running shoes, which previously I discard, 300 to 500 miles? I think you mentioned a little bit a couple of times as well. What is the process of sending these shoes? And also the no catch aspect you sometimes talk about.
No. I mean, we're making it. We know people are busy, and we're making it super convenient. If you have a running store, we're partnered with a lot of the running stores, a lot of the colleges, municipalities nationwide. If you see our box, you can just drive to that box, drop it off there. If you're at home and you're busy, you can just go on our website, order your recycling bag, and it will come straight to your apartment, your house, your condo with the postal office. It will have a prepaid shipping label, and the only work you have to do is seal the bag. It fits up to 6 pairs, and you can drop it off at any FedEx location.
That's cool. And the thing's prepaid shipping, right? You said probably especially folks that are interested individually. Yeah.
We're keeping it right now as prepaid. There is a cost that's going to come afterwards, but it's all about the R&D right now. But we're eating the cost right now as a company, but down the road there will be a cost. We haven't done that as of right now, and we want to keep this service to let the whole world know that we exist and this could be done.
Definitely. And you also mentioned that you partner with the specialty running stores or the local stores who're selling. Is it primarily as of now nationwide or beyond US?
Yeah, we do. We are nationwide in all 50 states. We actually have partners in Alaska and Hawaii as well.
Wow.
And not only California to Maine to Arizona, Florida. We're like nationwide. And yes, we do have Sneaker Impact Europe. So Sneaker Impact Europe is in Amsterdam. If Charles is listening, shout out to Charles Van Heyck. Charles is taken over. He's our general manager in Europe, and it's located in Amsterdam. So in The Hague.
Nice. Oh, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
You shared a vision before, like a kind of the 10-year dream plan, that ideally sneaker impact wouldn't need to exist. Because if shoe brands would be designing for the end of life from the start, are you seeing any promising movements in the footwear industry towards that circular design?
Uh, Look, currently we have not. I
Right.
know some of the brands that have done an amazing job. Kamal, this is super easy. Okay? Make a shoe with less material. Can we make a shoe with the same material? Where you take a shoe, and some brands are trying that. Make a shoe with very similar material, and you grab it, you throw it in the grinder, and you make a new shoe again. If this happens, this would be the ultimate goal. And I know On Running has tried something like this, and I hope they can continue to do that stuff. And
Yes.
they would ask clients to ship it back to them after it's done. And I know Asics have done a similar project as well. Uh, but this would be the ultimate goal. And we always talk to in our conversation with brands. If they made the shoes with less material, it would be much easier to recycle. They could do it themselves and inject it back into their circular economy,
Yeah.
or we'll be here to help as well if they need our help. So yeah, I mean, this would be the ultimate goal for all of us. There's no planet B.
Yeah, yeah. I remember I was reading the case study about the Nespresso, the coffee pods. I think they're the circular, where when they took the initiative to actually see end to end the life cycle, right? And consumers can actually ship it back those pods back to Nespresso, and then I could how do that. I think you're talking of something similar in the shoe industry too. I mean, but you have to design, you have to build for the circular economy to work. You probably design first the way I think you're referring to. It's the less materials or the similar kind of a materials that they're it's easy to recycle. Probably definitely should probably also think it through.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Nespresso capsules, I would think they're much easier to recycle. We have coffee and aluminum, I think. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
with our infrastructure, it's not only the shredding, the grinding, the reuse, and the recycling. Also, the logistic infrastructure was pretty complicated as well, because you have a web in all 50 states, different cities,
Yeah.
and not. I look at Sneaker Impact as a technology company, recycling company, a reuse company. It's a combination of different lens of how you're looking at it.
I see.
With the data that we're collecting, we want to learn more the habits. We want to learn more what runners are doing and how much life are in those shoes. And I feel on a daily basis we're learning more and more.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. I think you're probably solving problems as you come across versus, hey, I know all the problems that potential I face, and then I have a playbook to solve those. Probably it's not the way. It's probably you encounter a problem, solve for it, you encounter the next one, and then you solve for it, go from there. So, looking forward, what's next for Sneaker Impact? I think you alluded a little bit that you are a technology company. Are there any new initiatives or partnerships or technologies on the horizon that you can share?
You should come to my office downstairs and see. They keep telling me, "Mo, what are we doing this week?" I
Yeah.
feel this is a new initiative. So we have to, it's all about evolvement. And yes, we're constantly working on evolving the system because it hasn't been done before at that level. Uh, what's next? The focus right now is we're actually talking to a sandal company right now to make sandals out of our polymers. We want to push more and more, and this will be in our social media uh, very soon, and on LinkedIn and the other channels we use. We want to be able to work harder to integrate more and more of our polymers into the footwear industry. We're testing here in house. We've tried to make yoga mats with different contractors. It didn't work. So we bought a press machine and we made the yoga mats here. And
Wow. So you
so
brought in
there's
indoors.
different products. We just want to now proof of concept, bring more product to the market and say this what could be done from the end of life.
I see. I see. No, that's great. So Mo, it definitely is an incredibly enlightening conversation. I know you work with Snow Impact, Sneaker Impact. It's not just I mean, it's not the impactful work that you are doing. It's actually genuinely inspiring. So thank you. Before you wrap up, what would be a one key message that you'd like every runner or every sneaker owner, per se, to take away from our discussion today about the roll shoes?
No, we want to tell them the second half of the story. First of all, keep on running. Good luck on your marathons.
Yeah.
And what I tell people all the time, Kamal, we should be the last option. If you have siblings, if you have friends, hand them over those sneakers. You guys, as a runner in the running community, sneakers can go up to $250, $200 a pair, $150. So hand them over to your siblings, hand them over to your kids if you have kids, to your friends. But uh, wear them again as a casual shoe. They should never end up in the landfill. 87% of the public toss them. We're here to help, but we always say if you can find a better way here at home to hand over these sneakers, go for it. But we are here to help through our bags program or the take back with the box program.
No, thank you. That's awesome. Mo, thank you so much. For sharing what you're doing as Sneaker Impact, and it's really impactful. I think you touched on so many dimensions that you're impacting the socioeconomic way, and then your vision for Sneaker Impact as well.
No,
So
thank you, man. Thank you so much. And hey, good luck. Good luck. I know you're running the London Marathon. Good luck with
yes,
London, man. I'll be watching.
thank you so much. It's week 2 of trading. But I'm pretty confident that sure it'll be fine, and then we'll run to. But thank you.
Right, man.
Um, So I'm just wrapping it up. To all our listeners, hey, thanks for tuning in, and hope this episode was encouraged you to look at your running shoes, not just as a gear for your next run, but as part of a larger, more sustainable cycle. Don't forget to visit sneakerimpact.com. I think to learn more about Mo and what the great work that Sneaker Impact is doing. And actually, primarily to also find out how can you send your old shoes and to be part of this solution. So until next time, keep running, keep exploring, and keep striving for a more sustainable stride. Thank you. I'll